So, yeah, we're talking about it. Bills-Jags. What a time to be alive.
I'm nervous now. Sal's going to make me more nervous, I think.
Maybe part of it is, maybe this is part of the nerve. Oh, Sal's going to join us. Hey, sorry, Sal. Maybe part of the nerves or part of like the feeling, I don't know how you're up. Sal's in Florida, so he probably feels great. We're over here, it's snowing. But Sal, one of the things I'm thinking about is usually for this round, we're all together, we're at the stadium, they won the division, blah, 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 and the team coming in is just somebody. Like it's not like tomato cans, but there's not been a quarterback to play in this round that would really give you much respect at all in a while. Bo Nix last year was probably the best, and that's a rookie, right? It had been Skylar Thompson, and if you want to say, is it Phillip Rivers late in his career, and Mason Rudolph, and he's like, oh, number 1 overall pick, playing hot. Like, this is a different animals, and we're not at the stadium, so maybe that's leading to these different feelings. Anyway, good morning, Sal. How's Florida?
It's a little wet here. First of all, yeah, we don't have to love Nick Wright, but I mean he did go to Syracuse, so he can make some good points. I mean we all know that, right?
That's how we know he's brilliant. Yes.
Yeah, that's how he has to be recognized there. It is rainy and wet here, but that's going to stop, guys.
Okay.
If you see pictures or video coming out, I just got to the stadium a little while ago, and on the ride in, it was pretty wet. It's pretty rainy, but radar showing that's going to stop here in the next hour or so. So there's not even a tarp on the field, so they're not trying to keep it necessarily really dry. Otherwise, looking at probably temperatures about 64 degrees. It will be a little breezy, but I think it's kind of a perfect day for football, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, perfect. Good. That's good news. Sal, looking at the practice squad elevations, what the Bills have done here, do you feel like, I want to ask you about Josh Palmer first and foremost, because he goes from questionable to ruled out to IR. Is this basically a case of, like, without knowing the injury and how it's been nagging, like, they need a roster spot, and with their receivers, like, Brandon Cooks is here and has kind of taken that role away, so it's like, if Palmer were better, maybe they would be able to wait longer? I mean, I don't know. It's tough to kind of know how they're using the IR spot, but that's kind of the read I get on it.
I agree. I think there's twofold here, Jeremy. Number one is, you only have a certain amount of roster spots. I think with Tai Johnson's possible lack of availability really kind of made it more tricky this week when it came to the offensive side and, making sure that you have enough guys on that side of the ball. Running back Frank Gore gets elevated. But I think the other part of it is with Palmer is as much as they've tried to make it work and put him on the field, and it just hasn't. And every week it seems like you're dealing with this. I think it's, this is not to say, like, sometimes you say this in the offseason, well, just, move on from a guy. I'm not saying it in that respect. I'm saying just on the field, you just have to have certainty now. I think at this point it becomes about having certainty for availability, and you can't keep dealing with, is he going to be available? Is he not? If we play him, how much can we play him? I think you have to just have a plan and say, these are the guys we have. It's unfortunate. It didn't work out, but we got to move on here, and we got to do something different.
Yeah. Well, Sal, Frank Gore Jr. elevated from the practice squad. Potentially bad news for Tai Johnson. Like, in terms of his injury, you mentioned a few times he got the injury. He finished the game against the Jets, but then missed practice this week. And this elevation, it could be precautionary, or it could be a bad sign for Tai Johnson. If they're without Tai Johnson, how big of a loss do you consider that to be?
Massive loss on third down. It is a huge third down loss. The Bills have to live in third and short today without Tai Johnson. And my read on it is I think it could be precautionary. It's most likely he wouldn't play because Frank Gore hasn't even played all year.
Yeah.
To him to be elevated and Andre Jones Jr. and Bale Inspector, they needed 3 guys. If they were confident that Tai Johnson could go, I don't know if they would make all these moves, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a move that you make when you're pretty certain that maybe you don't have the guy. But sure enough, we'll watch. Maybe pregame warm-up says he come out. Is he doing anything? Let's just go on the assumption right now that Tai Johnson's not going to play. It is a really big loss on third down for the Bills. They're going to have to live in third and short because you get into third and medium, and this is a really important player for pass protection. It's an important player for an outlet because now, James Cook, you can use him for sure, but he's your first and second down guy. As we know, he comes off the field a lot on third and 2 minute and all that, and we talk about that. And then, of course, you have Ray Davis, who's going to have to step up into a much bigger role. I wouldn't expect Frank Gore Jr. to have much of a role on the offense unless he needed to today. This is probably pretty much Ray Davis taking most of what Tai Johnson snaps would be, and then James Cook sprinkled in there as well for those snaps.
So to that point, Sal, how would Ray Davis be in third down scenarios? Like, we know him carrying the ball is one thing, but the job of the running back that's going to be chipping or picking up free rushers, like Jacksonville does a lot of things to confuse a front, and it's one of the things we kind of came into the week knowing is that Josh Allen, the offensive line, they have to be sharp on who to protect. Mm-hmm. How does the running back fit into that, like through the week and preparation, and how much should we expect Ray Davis to be able to just kind of jump into that role?
Yeah, I think that's goes to the other point about Josh Palmer. I think that when you prepare for a team like the Jags, guys, this isn't the Houston Texans where they're going to put a hat in a hat and they're going to come after you, and you have to win your one-on-one. This is a team that's going to do a lot of things up front. They're going to do simulated pressures. They're going to play a lot of games. And I think preparation throughout the week is important to make sure a guy like Ray Davis, you go to him on Monday and say, look, you're probably going to be on the field this week because we're uncertain about Ty. And you give him the full boatload of where their pressures are coming from, how you need to handle it, how he has to understand where to protect Josh Allen in certain calls and things like that. So my sense is because because Ty didn't practice all week and because they did elevate Frank Gore, that Ray Davis probably has a full week of, preparation. This isn't a situation where maybe you get to Thursday and it's like, oh, we have an injury in practice. That's happened before, right? That happened to Christian Benford the one week. Like, all of a sudden, a guy that didn't practice for 2 days has to have the game plan on Friday and know exactly what he has to do, a little bit more of a different role. My guess is Ray Davis will be very prepared coming into this game with a full week of preparation in the game plan.
Sal, one of the things this week that I've been thinking a lot about is, like, game plan kind of aside is – if you're going to pick somebody to win this game, and I've hated the conversation around experience, and we talked a little bit about this morning. I don't know that I love, especially Trevor Lawrence, the conversations around playoff experience, big games. But I think one thing I know we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about is maybe more like desperation. And I do feel like if you're looking at each of these two teams, I might want to lean towards the Bills as being an incredibly desperate team coming into this game on the road. I don't know how you feel. You've been around the team. Like, what is focus or desperation? Is there a word you would use that maybe better characterizes or should be a better storyline to the game other than experience?
No, I think the consistency of how the Bills approach every week, though, factors here, Nate. And I mean, I'll go back to really this stadium, 2017, the Bills' first playoff game after breaking the drought. And I remember that week. I just remember everything leading up where we'd go on these different radio stations and people would ask us, okay, now they haven't been here in 17 years. How are they going to handle everything? I said, you know what, really it stands out to me about the Bills, and this goes back 8 years, and it's still true. They approach every week the same. They don't have a different approach because they're in the postseason or because it's a December game. They truly do live up by the mantra of going 1-0 and preparing every week. Now, as the game is unfolding, I do think those things start to creep in a little bit, which is, okay, you're the team with the reigning MVP quarterback. You're the team with the best player on the field. You're in a situation where everybody's expecting you to, you have this, we want to use the word pressure, that if you don't advance on what's happening in the organization, that's not on the other side. The Jags are kind of like found money right now. No one expected them to be here this year. So I do think that can kind of come into play, but it can go both ways, right? Where you say the pressure that could kind of the desperation, or the experience as well. You've been in these situations. You understand it. I think also what really helps the Bills here today is they also have a lot of experience this year with facing adversity late in games, right? I mean, you go back to week 1, obviously, against the Ravens. You have the Cincinnati Bengals game. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers game, the New England Patriots game, of course. I think the Bills understand that this is a 60-minute game, and they're going to they're not going to play a desperate game unless they have to late in the game, I guess, in that situation.
If either of these teams were watching last night's games, Sal, they're 60-minute games, right? Like
yes, that's right.
The Panthers, the Rams, both those, the Rams and the Bears both win on late scores.
And Jeremy, I'll make the point too about give credit to the Bears. And here's a first-time head coach, the quarterback in his first playoff start. And look how they handled that. That was great, because they got nothing to lose either. They're just trying to make plays, and they did. And I think that's the danger of a team like the Jags, where, by the way, let's remember, Trevor Lawrence has a 27-point comeback in his back pocket in the playoffs a couple years ago.
Yeah, belief is powerful, and you might have two teams here that have belief. The Bills have belief over there because of experience, and the Jaguars might have it like the Bears do, which is like, whoa, we have a thing now here that's pretty good. Sal, any other final thought for this game? Like someone you want to watch for? I'd said to Nate, When's the last time the Bills punched a ball free? Like that was something last year we got a lot of. So, and with it, it's not exactly scientific, but like I feel like they're due. Somebody punch a ball free, a peanut punch from Benford or Tai Johnson or somebody. It happened in the playoffs last year, and turnovers, a big play on defense. This defense might just have to find a way to win by making like 2-3 big plays, and sometimes that is punching a ball loose.
And I think the story of this game at the end of the day might very well be which team wins the turnover battle. It sounds cliche, but guys, I mean, look at the numbers. They just speak for themselves. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the number 2 team in the NFL as far as takeaways. They're number 1 in the NFL, or maybe number 2 in interceptions. They have 22 interceptions this season, which is incredible. They have 9 fumble recoveries. They're at 31 takeaways. The Bills are even. I think they're +1 in the turnover battle. But what the Bills stat is, when the Bills win the turnover battle this year, they're 8-0. And when they lose it, they've won 1 game out of 6. They're 1-5. I mean, think about that. That's how razor thin the margin is. I've been saying it all year and leading into December football and now. The Bills just don't have the same kind of team to overcome those mistakes the last few years. But if they don't make the mistakes, they win the game. And that's what they've done 8 times. So I do think that is a big deal. I agree with you. Go after the ball, make a play, things like that. Tackling is going to be big, though, today. I don't think you can concentrate on trying to go, punching out balls when you need to tackle guys. They're good, run after the catch. And the Bills, they've been leaky tackling this year at times. They haven't been great at it. And this is a Jags team they're going to rely on their guys to make some plays with the ball in their hands. The Bills have to tackle them. So I agree. And then I do think you guys have touched on, I just think Dalton Concade on the offensive side is a massive X factor in this game. I mean, this Jags team is very, very good at every level. Their linebackers are very good sideline to sideline. But when teams have moved the ball on them, oftentimes it's been between the linebacker safety area, tight ends. They've given up, I think, over 100 receptions to tight ends this year, over 1,000 yards of tight ends, which is, I think, 4th or 5th, most in the NFL. And I just think that's an area the Bills are going to have to concentrate, and running backs today.
Sal Capaccio from Jacksonville. What's the name of that stadium? Everbank? Is it Everbank Stadium?
Everbank with one word.
All right, Everbank. All right, Sal.
It's the second to last season here, the penultimate season. They'll be closing theirs, and then they're playing in Orlando in 2027. Okay. And the Bills are actually scheduled to play in Jacksonville in 2027. So it's kind of funny. The Bills will be playing either in Orlando or London, I guess. But yeah, this stadium one more year, and then they're going to move to Orlando before as their new stadium is being constructed.
Sal, pulse check. I'm doing mine right now. I thought talking to you, whenever we talk to you, I know we're getting closer to kickoff. So I'm just getting more nervous. Do you have any advice for me?
I'll say this. People ask me about the same kind of thing, and I always say, look, leading up to the game, it gets really, hectic. Like, oh, my God, you get all these nerves. Like, that our lives, all of us, in some capacity change based on a win or loss of an NFL football team, right? I mean, tomorrow I'm either at locker cleanout or talking about the Bills going on a plane next week to go somewhere to play in the divisional round and covering practice. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. It's pretty crazy, and think about it. But I always say this, Nate. Once you get to the game, nothing you can do. It's a game. It's a football game. Let it play out. I know you get really it's so funny. I go back and look. I don't tweet during the games. I can't. And I'm glad about that because I look back and I see some of yours from early in the games. And I'm like, dude, put the phone down, watch the game, take a breath. You're okay. It's all, and I say that with love, by the way.
I know.
Sal, thank you. We'll be countdown to kickoff. We'll be listening. You'll jump in and through the broadcast, and you and I will talk tomorrow on Buffalo Bills Football Monday.
All right, you got it, guys. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Sal. He'll join us. Buffalo Bills Football Monday, one way or the other. It's going to be Playoff Victory Monday or Locker Cleanout Monday and Off-Season Monday. These are the stakes. This is the first round. They're in the AFC Championship game last year.
We, on the other side, just a brief thing we need to mention, that hatred is back in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Bleep those guys. I bleeping hate those guys.
An NFL head coach.
Hatred's back.
803-0550. The good kind. Sports kind. 1-888-550-2550. Rivalries. That kind of stuff. Patriots play tonight against the Chargers. Who to root for? That's up to you. You think it's easy?
Easy. I would love for them to be one and done, the Patriots.
If they're one and done, that sets up a likelihood you're going to Houston. Just
fine. I'd like a second shot at them.
If you play Houston, they're going to be short-rested, too. They play Monday night.
They will be short-rested.
That's not bad. It's Buffalo Bills Game Day here on the Buffalo Bills Radio Network. Back in a snap, brought to you by Snapdragon Apples, the official apple of the Buffalo Bills.